So recording is in progress, and with that, I will hand over to Beatriz.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, everyone. My name is Beatriz Santana. I'm part of Attract, a European Digital Innovation Hub based in Portugal. I welcome you to the final episode of our webinar series, 5 Facets of Generative AI, which we've been running with EDIH Südwestfalen, represented here by Robert, Louisa, and Sphesihle, who I will hand over to in just a minute, like Robert said. At our EDIH Attract, we focus on promoting and supporting the use of artificial intelligence and high-performance computing. And our goal here is to help with training and boost innovation in these areas to improve organizational performance. So over the past few weeks, we've shared our AI expertise, highlighting the 5 key facets of generative AI that can help companies gain a business advantage. And in this final episode, we actually want to hear from you. We'll open the floor to your comments and questions about the series, and we would love to discuss any success stories or challenges you've experienced. So now I will hand over to Robert and Louisa and Sphesihle, who will give a brief introduction and recap the first 2 episodes of our series. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, Beatriz, thank you very much. We will do, from a content perspective, a short recap. As you know, we are doing that webinar series, or we started with that webinar series some weeks ago. So, and you know that maybe the first and the second series are not that present. So we will invest a little bit more time on bringing the content of the first and second episode back to your minds, and Beatriz will then also shed some light on episodes 3 and 4. So we will invest around about half an hour in the whole recap thing, and after that we are free to answer all your questions that you might have regarding generative AI. So when it comes to empowering our teams with generative AI, we shed light on different perspectives of generative AI during our webinar series. So it empowers you as an individual person, but it can also empower the team that you are working in. And when you remember the first episode, it was about the whole aim of the workshop and about generative AI itself. And with that, I would like to hand over to Louisa, and she will explain us a little bit more about the first episode that we had.
Yeah, welcome also from my side. I will shortly sum up the aim of the workshop series, and especially the first workshop Robert and me did. So to sum up it a little bit, we just talked about 4 aspects. So we started by jump a little bit in the topic of understanding the functionalities and capabilities of Gen AI. The second topic was understanding especially the dark sides of Gen AI and which habits, for example, arise through using AI tools and especially consuming media content that maybe was developed by different AI tools. The third thing was understanding different concepts of human evaluation. So we talked about how we as a human can take the role of evaluating AI content and make AI content even trustworthy and more understandable and and the fourth thing was giving you some takeaways for using and consuming generative AI in practice and especially in your daily work routines. We started our first workshop episode with talking about what is Gen AI, and we therefore gave you a definition about generative AI, and I will not read out the definition loud again, but I will just talk about for the 4 key characteristics again. So when we talk about Gen AI and what Gen AI can do, then we have 4 key characteristics, which we presented in our workshop and explained a little bit. So we started by the key characteristic of creativity, and creativity comprises the ability to produce original content that has not explicitly programmed. So it's a little bit, we sometimes discuss about the point that Gen AI can be creative, but we in our workshop will further go to the key characteristics and explain why creativity could be also a key characteristic of Gen AI. The second one was learning from data. So Gen AI training is the training on large data sets to learn the underlying patterns and structures. And as the third point, we have versatility, so that it is applicable in various domains, such as natural language processing, computer vision, and even more. And the fourth thing was the interactivity. So it is often used in applications where interaction with humans is required. For example, when you think about chatbots and different virtual assistants, and also different content creation tools.
Yeah, we also talked about the general capabilities of generative AI. You might also have in mind that we gave a short introduction to the technical functionalities of ChatGPT and how it works in the background. We did not incorporate that in today's presentation, but maybe you also have in mind that we, as I said, talked about the capabilities of AI. So what is AI able to do today? What is AI not able to do today? And if you look on that slide, we can clearly see that we have a clear border or a clear line between more creative things and more analytical tasks. So, for example, AI is able to recognize pattern, to make decision based on data and algorithms. It is able, for example, if you think about ChatGPT, to process language, to process natural language. It is also able to analyze visual data, to recognize visual data, and to find patterns within that data. That is what the first point refers to. But on the other hand, we also have several other tasks that are not really, or that what AI is not really able to do when it comes, for example, to creativity. Of course, you will see that on the next slides, we can discuss about the extent of how creative AI is. Some people will argue that AI is by itself creative. But some people will also argue that it is not creative in that sense. For example, when you think about generating a picture, is it really a new act, a really completely new picture, or is it more or less based on already existing pictures? So is it real creativeness, or is it more or less based on something that is already existing? Is that all? Is creating something on a basis that is already existing also a kind of creative act? That is something that can be discussed. But my personal opinion is more or less that we are not in the stage of creative artificial intelligence right now. What should be more or less clear is that we do not have an emotional intelligence yet. AI is not able to make moral decision, or it neither has a kind of self-awareness. And when we look again on that staircase here, we have 5 different stages of possible AI, of possible artificial intelligence developments. And we are more or less actual now in the transition between learning intelligence and creative intelligence. And that is what I said a few seconds ago, when we can discuss about the extent of how creative artificial intelligence is. So AI is now totally able to respond to environmental stimuli. It is able to, independently acquisition of new knowledge. But when we look on the further steps, for example, a conscious intelligence or a self-conscious intelligence, we do not have that right now.
Yeah, and in the next part of our workshop, we, as a basis for argumenting why human evaluation is so important, we talked about the dark sides of Gen AI, and therefore we introduced the topic or the term of deepfakes, and we explained to you what deepfakes are. So when deep learning technologies are used to create fake content, and especially these deep fakes and this deep fake content is very present at the moment, especially in the web and on social media platforms, etc. And it can be very dangerous because deep fakes can exist in different formats. So we can see here on the slide that we can have videos, audios, just images, or also text documents that are developed by different AI tools, and because of this, it's even more necessary and also important that we as humans learn how to question the content we are presented by different platforms and social media, and it's also important that we teach you in how you can do that evaluation, and which methods there are and which methods we have to evaluate this different contents, because we now have the problem that many AI tools with which you can create this deepfake content are online, and you don't so everybody can use it, and you don't need special skills to use it, and that makes it even more dangerous because everyone can access it. And that was the basis on which we argumented that we need human evaluation, and we need to understand the human role in consuming and also developing AI content.
We also talked about the European roadmap for artificial intelligence, or as the EU calls it, an approach for excellence and trust. We shed some light on the different milestones that the European Union achieved in that area. They started 2018 with setting up the so-called high-level expert group for AI, and they worked on ethic guidelines for trustworthy AI, which we also presented a little bit in the session. In 2020, we had the European White Paper on AI, and in 2021, the European Commission updated the coordination plan on AI, and it also published a proposal for a regulation on laying down harmonized rules on AI. And you maybe also remembered from the media that the so-called AI Act entered into force this year, only a few months ago. So when we look on that ethic guidelines for trustworthy AI, which are created by the high-level expert group of artificial intelligence, they had some different aspects that AI should ensure, or how AI should be designed. And one of that mechanisms that are defined within the document is so-called human oversight and agency. And with human oversight and agency, we have different concepts which are called human in the loop, human on the loop, or human in command. And that is a kind of human-centered AI approach. So where humans still have some oversight about AI and also about generative AI systems. And you maybe also remember that Louisa explained the different concepts in more detail. We will not do that again today. If you want to have a look again into the concepts of human in the loop, human on the loop, or human in command, sometimes also framed as human on demand, you can have again a look into the recording of the session.
Yeah, and now to sum up a little bit and to come to the end of the first episode, we on the last slide talked about what does that mean now in a very short form today. So at the first stage, we have to look on data. So we did that in a workshop episode after the first one. I think it was the second one. And yeah, on the first step, we have to have a look on the data quality, and also the data diversity. That is very important. On the second step, we choose the right AI model for our use case. It's important to check that the AI models fit to our use case, and we have to have a look on how was the model trained, based on which data the model was trained, if the data were biased, etc. So that was yeah, a big part of what we explained in the human evaluation part in our workshop. On the third step, we have to have a look on the inputs. So we should definitely frame our context, and that is what we also learn in all the prompt engineering workshops, and yeah, where we get information about how we should formulate our prompts to get the best and detailed answers by the AI. And yeah, when you visit this prompt engineering workshops, you always yeah, learn that you have to give detailed information and explain your content, and yeah, that has an influence on the quality of the answer given by the AI. And when you get the output, it's also important. It's always important that you double check the output, so that you maybe Google again the answer when it's a little bit more critical content. So you have to rate and evaluate the results given by the AI. Yeah, and I guess that was the last slide from episode 1. And yeah, now we will come to the second workshop episode. I guess it's your part.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. So in the last session that we did, it was the second session about data cleaning. So I touched a lot on data cleaning techniques. So I also showed the tools that you could use to do your data cleaning process. And I actually showed as well the environments that you can use, like your VS Code or Python, to actually do your techniques. So today I'll just look into the conclusions, or just highlight the more important techniques. Can go to the next slide. So as my colleagues had already explained, the Gen AI, it has a lot of possibilities. It has a lot of new possibilities for businesses. It generates text, and also it's trained on the publicly available data. For an example, ChatGPT. I think my colleagues touch a lot on that one on the first episode as well. So also we highlighted that as much as these LLMs are trained on the publicly available data, but it doesn't stop the organization to use their own data to leverage on this technology. So the organization can actually borrow this concept to do their own LLM alongside their data, or to create their LLM from scratch. So I then looked at the LLM and data. Where does the LLM get this data, and how to extract the data? So the LLM can read the data from the unstructured or semi-structured data. It could be emails or documents, or it could be semi-structured, which is the files like HTML and CSV. So it could also get the data from the CRM, which is a structured, which is your database, the database which is defined structures in the fields. So I touch on the synopsis, and let's say, for instance, you have an SQL database, you want to train an LLM, you have to establish connection, read the data, and extract it to a CSV format, which you can use to clean, and then you can process and clean the data and extract it to the format that is understood by the model, and then you can pass the data and let the model process that information for you. So data quality, it's important to know that the generative AI are as good as the data at which they are trained. So accuracy is important. It has to be relevant data. It has to be complete, and it must have no biases. So the ways to improve data quality then is to implement the robust data cleaning processes, like handling outliers using statistical methods, visualization, and also the domain expertise. It's important that in the organization, people that understand the data, that can give the proper business use cases, they are involved in the process of data cleaning. Also, it's important to address the missing or incomplete data through importation or deletion or flagging of the data. So then also the other synopsis of data cleaning is just the data collection from the sources, as I've explained earlier, and then you match the data if it's important, and you handle the missing data, you validate the data, and also correct the spelling. The grammar is important for your LLMs. So then I touched a lot on data cleaning, the data that is extracted from the databases. You have to remove the unwanted data, remove the missing data, and also remove the duplicates for you to be able to train your model properly. So we can just, and also it's important to clean the data and reduce the noise. So we have text tokenization. You can just, so yeah, you convert the data into sequences. You remove the punctuation. You handle errors, as I have explained, the spelling errors. Then you lemmatization and stemming, the wording of the words, the best word of the words, and also the vocabulary, it's important. So, and also text normalization. So the benefits of cleaning the data is to ensure the accuracy, it eliminates the mistakes and maintain the consistency, it reduces the confusion for the model, especially the hallucinations. It improves the quality of the model. It makes sure that the data is reliable and consistent, and also it helps facilitate the analysis. It simplifies the interpretation, especially for business use cases. It also helps with cleaning the data that comes from the tabular formats, like your tables from the databases. So the conclusion that I've made even in the last episode is that there's in data cleaning process, there is no one size fits all. The data cleaning varies. And also it lacks the universal template. So critical thinking is actually required. So the data scientist must ask questions to get the meaningful data for the models. So the pre-checklist that could help is to clean the data, make sure it's consistent, and also that it is accurate. That was the last parts of my session. Thank you, Robert.
Okay, thank you very much, Spi. And then I will hand over to Beatriz to explain a little bit more about sessions 3 and 4.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. So as Robert mentioned, the first two episodes happened a few weeks ago, so we really wanted to revisit all the topics with you. Since the last two episodes are more recent, I would just briefly summarize the topics we covered in the last two episodes, just to give you the full picture. In the third episode, conducted by Jorge Amorim, Roadblocks in Our Generative AI Map, it was covered various challenges and solutions related to using generative AI. We've learned that the risks of AI don't come from the technology itself, but from how people design, implement, and use it. By focusing on ethical design, responsible use, and strong regulations, we can enjoy the benefits of AI while reducing its risks. And one of the major challenges identified was, of course, AI literacy gaps. Many organizations struggle because they don't understand AI well enough. So this lack of knowledge makes it hard to use generative AI effectively. So to overcome this, we really need to boost AI literacy, just like we are doing in this webinar. This means offering target training and ongoing education, not just the technical skills, but also in understanding the strategic impact of AI. Thank you, Rob. You can go for the next slide. In terms of the fourth episode, which was the art and science of prompt engineering, also led by Jorge Amorim, we talked about how crucial prompt engineering is for getting the best results from generative AI models. It involves creating precise prompts to guide AI systems in producing the desired results. This means understanding what AI can and cannot do, and having a strategic approach to problem solving and communication. Also, by following the best practices and continually refining our techniques, we can unlock generative AI's full potential and make it a valuable tool for many applications in our organizations. One key practice that George mentioned is to provide context when writing prompts. This helps the AI understand the task better, and which will lead to a more accurate response. We also learned that prompt engineering will keep evolving with AI technology. It's not just about crafting prompts, but also understanding problems, providing context, and making continuous improvements. As AI advances, prompt engineering will become even more important for getting the best results from these tools. So that is the full picture of these last two episodes. Now that we are in the final segment of our webinar series, I would like to open the floor to all of you. This is your chance to share your thoughts, ask questions, and talk about any parts of the series that you found interesting or challenging. If you have questions about what we've covered, insights from your own projects, for example, or ideas for future discussions, we would love to hear from you. You can raise your hand and share your comments or questions with the group, or if you prefer, you can type them in the chat and we'll address them. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much also Beatriz and all the participants for attending today's session. Are there any questions regarding all the contents we delivered? Okay, seems not to be the case. Maybe we can have a last call. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, I think there is no need to prolong the session in an artificial way. Okay, yeah, then once again, thank you very much for attending. And we hope that the different episodes and that the content were somewhat useful for you. And if you have any questions outside of this webinar, you are more than welcome to write us an email and to agree on a video call or something like that, and then we can clarify all your questions. Okay, then thank you very much and have a nice Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.